It's a good thing. It's a good story to tell. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Don't worry, don't be shy. And if you don't want to answer them, you can say you don't know or you have no comments.
Okay.
And that's it. And don't worry, no personal questions. It's just basically about this company.
Okay.
Natural. And
Or you can ask personal questions, I don't mind. If it's too personal, I will tell you.
yeah, I understand. So, so very easy. You just look at the camera for a few seconds.
Okay.
You can just lean back, you know, because this is like a coffee shop,
Okay.
cafe conversation with the Hyatt. So just, hi, welcome to the National. Sorry, just it's the air conditioning thing. Hi, welcome to the National Quiz Choice online news at Hyatt. I'm Robin Steinberg, and thank you for coming to my show again. I have a great guest today, and his name is Mr. Pierre Brichot. Sorry,
Béchereau.
Brichot. Sorry, Mr. Pierre Brichot is the founder of All Natural Wine Singapore, and what he does is that he provides a service where all of his wines are organic, and it's a one-stop shopping experience, and it's something that we're going to get to know more of it right now. Mr. Pierre, good morning, and
Good morning.
welcome to the Grand Hyatt Hotel, and also say Hyatt, the National Quiz Choice column. It's been a while that people have talked about organic wines, and now that we have a company that does all natural wine in Singapore, tell us more about it. And what was your inspiration? Starting this evangelistic campaign.
Okay. Actually, all natural wines are more than organic, and that's why the name is natural. Everybody knows what is organic agriculture and organic products, but wine is in a way an industrial product because you take the grapes from the vineyard and you transform it into wine. And this process can be done in a very industrial way, which is what happens most of the times, or in a very natural way, very close to the tradition. So the producers that I represent, the people that I want to defend through my company, are those winemakers very close to the tradition who wants to do wines in a very natural way, because they believe that wine has been done for thousands of years without all the technique that we have now. So it must be possible to do good wines without all this technique and just purely made of grapes.
Wow. Now, what is the difference between a natural wine, the organic wine, and as well as processed wine, if you call it, or industrial wine?
Yeah, we use this word of conventional wine for
Uh-huh.
the industrial wine. First, I would say it's the work that you do in your field, in your vineyard. If you do it organically, then it will be an organic wine made from organic grapes. In France, for example, we have a label for that, which says organic product, but actually it's a kind of lie for the consumer because he doesn't know that it's only the grape which is organic, but actually some chemical products are added during the winemaking process.
Okay.
In some other countries, like Australia, I think there is no official definition of organic. There are small independent labels that are having their own rules. So it's very complicated to really know what you are drinking. In the case of natural wines, when they harvest the grapes, which are obviously organic, they harvest it by hand, which is very important for them. And then they use the natural yeast to make the alcohol, including the wine. Normally, and that's what most of the people do, they inject some chemicals like sulfites to kill the natural bacteria and yeast which are present on the grapes,
Oh, I see.
because they want to replace it by selected yeast in laboratories.
Oh, I see.
This is the first main difference. The transformation into wine is done naturally with what the grape has to offer. It's not suppressed and then replaced by something selected in laboratories. And then you will have a lot of different techniques that are used to finding the wine, to make it look better and to target a specific taste that natural producers want to refuse. They want to make a wine from whatever the nature gives us.
Oh, I see.
If it's a good wine, if it's a good year, it will be a very good product. Some years, it will be not so good. But that's the risk and the whole interest in it.
Ah, okay. Now, uh, coming back to natural wine, what inspired you to begin this campaign?
For me, I was engineer in agriculture in France a few years back, and in school they teach you more what is trendy now. It's what they call reasoned agriculture.
Hmm.
For example, in the case of wine and grapes, it represents 20% of the pesticides used in France, even though the surface is less than 5%. So vines tend to use a lot more pesticides than other products, agricultural products. So in school they teach you to use less, but still use a lot of it. Then I worked in industry in China actually for 2 years in a yeast company. And I learned the power of the yeast, which is also very important for the wine.
Oh, wow.
That's why, for me, defending products which are made from natural yeast and not yeast from companies like my previous one,
Oh, okay.
in a way, is very important because I know that if you bring it from outside, how can you pretend to defend the terroir? You know this very important word, which is terroir. How can you defend the fact that your grape represents and your wine represents why you are producing in this region if you are bringing things from outside?
Hmm.
So this is very important. And I had opportunities through friends and families to start a wine business in China, which I rejected for a while because I was very busy with my main job.
Hmm.
But since I decided to change my career, then I started into this industry.
Wow. A lot of people ask me, how does that word terroir come about? I mean, it's such a very nice lingo, terroir. And everybody seems to abuse this term. Oh, I have a wonderful terroir. Even New Zealand said, we got to look at the terroir. Uh, so could you give us some insight? What does that term really mean, and how did it came about? Does it have some historical background to it?
Okay. Terroir is a word that is rooted like terre, which means earth, soil. So, of course, is first of all a geographic uh, technical term. It's linked to the land where you are. But terroir, especially for the wine and for agriculture, is much more than just where you are. It will be related to all the conditions related to that. So the climate, how much rain you have, how the seasons go one after the other, the difference of temperature you will have, all these conditions will change what your wine will look like in the end. It's not only the land and the hills or the mountains, it's also what's underground. It can be very different kind of rocks. It can be rocks from the volcanoes or rock for the sediments of the sea. It can be all these things. Terroir in the end, it represents all those climate and geography.
Mhm.
And I would say that for wines, it goes a bit further because generally people will associate with the terroir with traditional techniques.
Mhm.
Each region in France or in Europe or in old world wines, each region has its own technique to produce wine,
Mhm.
own kind of grapes, own kind of technical cultural methods. So terroir will also, I think, takes those in consideration.
Mhm. Oh, amazing! So the wine itself, the terroir that you described, actually affects the way the wine is tasted. Is that correct?
It affects completely the taste. In the new world wines, people recognize wine by their grapes. Everybody knows the Chardonnay, the Sauvignon Blanc, the Merlot, the Cabernet Sauvignon. For sure, the type of grape, the species of grapes is very important for the final taste. But when you put it into a terroir, into all these external factors, then the wine is much more than just the taste of the grape. We are not drinking grape juice. Grape juice, the grape is important because that's purely juice. But also in wine you have all these different things that are concentrated into the wine. So it's very important. In France, we don't qualify our wines by the grapes we put inside. We qualify them by the region where they are produced because they represent everything around it, not only the grape.
The earth as well as the treatment.
Yeah.
Amazing. So it's Mother Earth. Wow. So guys, please do check out all natural natural wine in Singapore. If you are living in Singapore or you're coming by Singapore, or even if you are living around Singapore or outside of Singapore, you can place an order for their wines, natural wines with Pierre. And their website is all natural
Dash.
wine.com.
That's it.
And Pierre, there's one other question we have in mind, that is, now you spoke about terroir and you spoke about the way the wine taste is determined by their location and the way it's been treated. But how about taste? Does taste really matter?
Of course, taste matters, and I think it matters above all. In wine, you have this, in this industry in particular, you have a lot of additional value added to just the wine. You have all those recommendations by Robert Parker, by sommeliers, and all these ratings are very important in this little world. But in the end, what is important is what you like. So of course, taste matters. You can drink wine for the image of it, but I think one should drink wine especially because you appreciate it.
Mhm.
In the case of natural wines, there are different things to consider. There are your own values. Do you want to drink or to consume in an environment-friendly way? Do you want to consume in a way that should be protecting your own health? So for that case, you are going for organic products. And in the case of wine, you should go to natural wines because they are fully organics. And regarding the taste, this is difficult to say, of course, because everybody has different tastes. But it's commonly said for natural wines that the taste will be closer to the nature and will have flavors and the bouquet, which is very, very pure. And you will have the chance to taste flavors that you haven't tasted before, because usually with the add of chemicals and very standard techniques, everything will tend to look a bit the same.
Mhm.
So, of course, you have a lot of variations, but there will be some common things. In case of natural wine, it's all free.
Mhm.
Everything is different from one place to another. There is no common point. So you can really make the range of taste and flavors and smells so much wider than what you had before.
Wow.
You might like it or not, but you will discover something new. And that's the interest of it.
And also, one of our viewers have asked and said, Pierre, how can I tell if I'm buying a natural wine or a organic wine? Is it based on the label itself, or is there more?
For organic, there are some labels, of course. For natural, there are some labels that are under construction. It's the natural movement is born in the 1920s, so it's very old, but it becomes more and more famous now. But in France, it represents less than 1% of the producers. It's very few producers doing this kind of technique. So of course, there is still no official label, but I work closely to an association in France which gathers those producers and which asks them to respect very few standards, very few basics for the techniques they use. The reason why I'm not just importing wine, but I'm trying to make a brand of it with au natural and to stick my label on the bottles is for people to be able to recognize if it comes from au natural, it's natural wine. It will be a matter of trust. Maybe in 10 years, maybe in 20 years, the industry will have developed and there will be some official labels, and it will be very nice because the consumer can be sure what he's doing now. But at the moment, the only thing is trust. If you trust my company, then you trust the fact that I trust also my producers. I'm French, I work with French producers, I know them. It's all a matter of trust, and in the end, if you are satisfied with what you have, then everybody is happy and it should be nice.
Now, is it hard and expensive to make natural wines these days, especially in France?
It's definitely more expensive because a lot of manual work has to be done. I talked about the harvest. Instead of a machine, you have to use tens of people to do it, which is definitely a big cost. Instead of using a cheap chemical product that you spray all around, you are using very special products made organically, so of course this has a cost also. And because you let more freedom to the nature to transform into wine, you have more chance to lose a part of your production.
Oh, wow.
So in the end, if you want to earn your life, you have to increase the price to compensate. So the wines are obviously more expensive.
Wow. Now, I believe that you have a bottle of wine this morning, which you're going to tell us about. And, you know, Pierre has generously show us this particular brand. Can you tell us more about this brand?
Okay, so this bottle is Cuvée Alibi.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I consider for myself the best bottle that I have imported from this first winemaker I have been working with, which is Lou Gresses from the south of France,
Wow.
Languedoc. This winemaker has been recognized by one of the major influence review, which is Goemio, has been recognized as the winemaker of the year for his region in 2011, I think.
Oh, wow.
And few of these bottles have very nice ranking.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a serious producer, even though he's natural. So it shows that natural doesn't mean bad or good.
Mm-hmm.
There is everything in there, even good producers.
Wow.
This one in particular, I like it because it has something very special in the aroma and in the taste.
Huh.
I think everybody can like it, even the people who usually don't like red wine. A lot of people, especially in Singapore, especially in Asia, try to avoid red wine because it's harder to drink. It's like siap siap and all these things.
Okay.
I'm trying to choose wines which are more drinkable than all those like strong Bordeaux with a very heavy body, which is difficult to get.
Mm-hmm.
When you smell it, you think it could be sweet. It's not. There is no sugar in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels so sweet in a way. And when you drink it, it's very smooth. The different flavors are earthy and spicy. They're not just a fruity grape. They are much more than that.
Okay.
But it's still light enough in the body to be drinkable. I think it's a very enjoyable wine. You were talking about the price. For me, it's very important to make it affordable because it's a new product, because it's a new way of seeing things. If you price it too high, people will not be curious. I want the wines that I import, I want my wines to be drunk by everyone, not by just the people who can afford it. So it's very important for me that even this bottle that I consider one of the best, that comes from a very special techniques,
Mm-hmm.
in my shop is priced less than $60. It's very important for me to do it this way because in the end, price doesn't mean good quality.
Mm-hmm. So, folks, please look out for one of his labels here. What do you call it?
Cuvée Alibi.
Ah, that's right. And it's one of those hard to pronounce, but please forgive me, winemaker, but it is quite good. Once again, it's a 2007 vintage. It's going to be amazing. And Pierre, one last note for aspiring young entrepreneurs like yourself. What advice would you give for those who, first of all, going to explore and trying out all natural wines at your shop, perhaps? What kind of wines can they look for? Would you recommend? If it's or like a first timer, like myself, would you recommend a vintage that is probably mature, or should I taste it? How do I begin?
I would recommend only one thing. Ask me.
Huh?
That's the point. In Singapore, I really wanted to start this company because I've been disappointed by what Singapore has to offer for the mass market of wine.
Mhm.
When you go to those shops, the staff is not trained. You cannot ask anything. I've been seeing myself asking about some wines, and the only thing the staff could answer me is, "This is our bestseller," and reading the label in front of me. What I like by doing a business by myself is I want to offer the service of telling, I'm not here to tell you this is good. I'm here to tell you what usually do you like, why usually you have been disappointed into wine and you want to give it a second chance. Tell me all these good and bad things and I will try to propose you something that corresponds. And slowly, if we know each other, I can propose you more and more, still according to your taste, challenging a bit your taste, but it will be a progression and this is what I like.
Oh, great. And folks, if you are looking for good natural wine, other than just organic wine, please remember to drop by All Natural Wines at his website, allnatural-wine.com, and you can also call up Pierre himself and give him a call. And of course, you can call him at his number.
Sure.
Yes.
8125-3808, or just drop me a line on my email, pierre@onatural-wine.com.
That's right. And once again, for wine lovers around the world, including the Hyatt fans, that is, and please don't forget Hyatt to look up for Pierre. I'm Robin Stienberg. Thank you for watching, and have a great day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.